Welcome back to my channel. I am Vanessa Simone. I'm a woman in her 30s who likes to travel, lifestyle. I'm trying to make a move. I'm trying to do so many things. To be honest, I'm just kind of lost in life. And we are on part 2 of traveling to Africa. And as always, grab yourself a drink. Let me make sure my microphone's on. Grab yourself your lip gloss, your hand lotion, or something, a snack, because it's going to be a long one. Again, these videos are perfect for you if you need to have something to listen to while you're cleaning your house, cleaning your room, doing tasks that you should be doing, but you need somebody's voice in the background to help you get it through it. So let's dive right in. Continuing on. So I get to Kilimanjaro, I believe. I land in Kilimanjaro, and in Kilimanjaro, I'm walking out of the plane. We get out to the tarmac or whatever, and I see the long Kilimanjaro airport sign in bright yellow in the darkness on the building. I enter the building, and it's a long line to immigration. And I actually had just booked a hotel, a very inexpensive hotel. It was like $40. Just like an Airbnb type thing. I found it through Google. I posted about it on my Instagram, and I think I have a video of it on my YouTube. We'll see. Super cute place. And so I was messaging them through WhatsApp because I had landed and told them, hey, I landed, But then I saw the long immigration line, and dear goodness gracious, it was long. And one thing, if you're going to travel, you need to get used to, in the beginnings of your travel, there's always some rules, regulations. You're going to have to get a visa. For Tanzania, you do need your visa. It costs $60 in cash for US citizens. I have dual citizenship. I'm also a Grenada citizen. And so because Grenada is part of the British Commonwealth, I actually get the visa for free. And so make sure that whenever you go to any country, you have cash, you know what you need for the visa, because they're going to ask you. You can't just be copping into other countries. And for some reason, there was this Middle Eastern man who was not happy. And while the line is long and everybody's, kind of, how it is. When you're in a long line, you're kind of tired, you've gotten off a flight, everybody's it's not the funnest place to be, is in the immigration line. Nobody likes that. But of course, this man is throwing a fit. A man is throwing a fit. Surprise, surprise. And he's like mad, and he's yelling, and he's causing a ruckus, and he's like, I want to smoke a cigarette, but I can't smoke a cigarette. And I'm like, oh my God, this man is probably going through withdrawals. I don't know. I also forget that a lot of countries still smoke cigarettes. I genuinely forget about that. Excuse me. Anyway, so he's angry. There's security guards are trying to help him and trying to calm him down, because he's like, what do you mean we have to pay $60? And I'm like, what world did you think that you just come into people's countries for free? I wish we could, because then we'd all be fun global citizens. That's how it should be anyway. But anyway, I digress. So he's angry. I finally get to the front of the line. But in the meantime, this took about 2 hours. So I'm texting the hotel like, I'm so sorry, I'm so late. Because the guy had been waiting since I pretty much got off the flight. And luckily, I had all my bags with me, because remember, this is the making up for the flight that I originally missed to Kilimanjaro and to Mwanza. So I have an early flight the next day to Mwanza, and I've been traveling on the go for the last, 15, 17 hours. So I'm exhausted. I'm very exhausted, and I just want to be done with this. I finally get my visa for Tanzania, get my passport stamped, make it through the airport. Because I already just had my carry-on with me, my carry-ons, I was good to go. Got to my driver. He didn't know, he didn't know. I didn't know much Swahili, so it was a very awkward ride. But it was fascinating because the drive there was about 15 minutes from the airport. But it was so funny because in the darkness, it literally looked so sketch. I think I posted it on my Instagram if you want to see, but I posted it and it was very sketch of a drive. It looked like I was in rubble and something, and then suddenly you see the hotel, and I was like, oh, thank God. And the man's pointing out, he's like, I live here, and he lives right next door to the hotel. I'm like, perfect, because I'm supposed to meet him in the morning. This lady comes out and she is helping with the hotel or something, and she grabs my bags and everything, and I tell them, okay, my flight tomorrow is at 8:30 a.m. What time should I leave? They are insistent that we should leave at 6 a.m. because you need to be there 2 hours prior. And I'm thinking, even in domestic flights, like I'm going to Mwanza, do I really need to? And they insisted 2 hours. So, okay, 6 a.m., I will be up. So the lady takes me in. The man who was my taxi driver goes back to his house next door. And when the lady brings me in, sweetest thing, she has dinner already pre-made for me. It's this drink, I forget what it is, mango juice or something. And then there's a Tanzanian dish, and I'm forgetting the name right now, but it's basically made with potatoes and eggs. And unfortunately, I'm kind of allergic to potatoes, but I didn't want to tell her that. It's not life or death or anything. My eczema flares. And so she shows me the dinner, and I am elated. I can't believe she has dinner for me. And there's also onions on there. It was delicious. And I ate as much as I possibly could. And prior to that, she showed me the room and everything. I'm just so happy to have a room to hopefully get some good rest for that night. And she disappears, and I finish eating my food. I make some videos, make some content, and then I go inside because the table and the chairs for where you eat is outside, and then you just walk inside, and that's where the bed is, and then the bathroom is to the left and everything. And I tell her I'm done. I'm finished eating. And so I'm getting ready to take a shower because I need to wash off that last 17, 15, actually more like 30 hours of traveling because, I haven't showered since I left Denver. So I'm getting ready, and then I hear a knock on the door, and I'm thinking, what on earth is going on here? And I open the door, and it's the lady of the hotel, and she's like, are you sure you're okay? And I was like, yeah, everything is fine. Everything's fine. What's going on? And she says, you didn't finish all your food. Mind you, I ate as much as I possibly could. There was maybe this much left. So it was a round, like that. So maybe this much of it was left. But because I didn't eat all, she was so concerned. And I was definitely thinking, I'm so sorry. I get full very easily. Actually, it was way bigger than that. It was huge because that's another thing. The portions in Africa, or in Tanzania and Kenya at least, were ginormous. And so I tell her, no, you're good. Everything is fine. It's wonderful. Trust me, everything is wonderful. I don't have the biggest appetite, and it is a lot of food. And I felt bad because I don't want to be wasting food either, but I also thought I don't know what to do with these dishes, and I didn't want to leave it in the room because I don't want to attract bugs and animals and things. They would ruin the night. Anyway, so hopefully they ate it. They can totally eat my leftovers. I swear my mouth is clean, I think. Anyway, so I finally get in the shower. This shower is hot. It is hot. It almost burned me. And I love that. It was the perfect shower. You know, when you have traveled for so long, or you just feel so dirty that the only way that you're going to feel like you are revived is when you have a nice hot shower to eliminate the germs of traveling. You could feel the germs leaving you as the hot water is splashed and being drenched upon your body. That was this shower. And also there was a handheld portion, and I think an overhead portion, which I love a handheld. I changed all the shower heads in my house to have a handheld because I think everyone should have a handheld shower. It just makes it so much because then you get every crevice, every single thing. I love every crack, cranny, everything. Gotta be clean. I gotta be clean. It was an amazing shower. Probably one of the best showers I've ever had in my life. Not that the shower itself was glamorous or anything, but because of how dirty I felt. And it's going to be one of the top showers I'm going to remember of my life. So I finish showering. I get into bed. I forget my sleeping shirt in my other bag. So I ended up just sleeping naked with the fan on. It was beautiful. Put the mosquito net around the bed, and then also made sure I laid out my malaria pills for the morning because now we have to take our malaria pills, which started 2 days prior to traveling and then is 7 days after you continue traveling. Have a wonderful night's sleep. I wake up a little early, and honestly, I usually try to take a dump, and then if I take a dump, then I like to rinse off my ass, okay? I'm sorry, I just do. And so then I went back in the shower that morning and rinsed off my butt. And so, not rinsed off, but, got a good wash in there because I just love my crack clean, okay? I love my crack clean. I just do. And this is going on the internet. And I don't cut things because I don't have time to edit all this stuff. Anyway, so crack is clean, and I end up going outside and packing all my stuff. And this lady is amazing. She had eggs and a whole bin of fruit ready and packed for me, and something else for breakfast, like a pastries or something. So I'm sitting there and I'm just thinking, this is amazing. Thank you so much. And we drive to the airport because my homeboy who lives next door is the taxi driver, takes me to the airport. And when I get to the airport, so this is the thing about airports in at least Kenya and in Tanzania. So we're in Tanzania. We get to the airport. Anytime you're entering an airport, the first thing you do is security, which is very, very efficient. And I love that they do this because then going into the airport, the airport is safe. The airport is already secure versus in the Denver airport, you get pretty much halfway through inside the airport before you go to security. And yeah, you're not safe until you're actually past security technically. Whereas these airports, no, you're doing security first thing. So I get through security, go to the counter, and I'm about to check in my Kenya Airways flight. Homegirl looks at me and she said, "We have a bit of a situation. Your flight is canceled." I'm like, girl, that's not a situation. That is literally like the worst possible scenario for somebody who needs to fly. Mind you, this is the last flight I would have had to Mwanza in order to meet up with my sister and to get to our hotel, because after Mwanza, we have a 9-hour drive to our actual hotel in the Serengeti. So I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? It's literally 6 a.m. She said, we're going to have an update at 7:30. And I'm like, oh, great. So I remember my bag isn't here yet. My bag is still in Istanbul. So I hit up Dan from Nairobi and I'm like, Dan, hey, my flight to Mwanza is canceled. Maybe we could just have my bag come to Kilimanjaro. So Dan is working and he's doing my bag. And then meanwhile, I'm messaging another guy who has kind of been helping us on our Tanzanian planning of the trip. His name was Shadrach. So I tell Shadrach, I told him my flight is canceled. And so what are my options here? And he tells me, well, you could either fly to the Serengeti or, it's going to be about a 9 or 10 hour drive it was 9, 10 or 15. I can't remember which number. 9, 10 or 15 hour drive to the hotel from the Kilimanjaro airport. And he tells me the price and it'll be 800 USD. And I'm just thinking, I just want to get there. After so much traveling, you finally have a good shower and then it's great, something else, right? But when you're traveling, you kind of have to anticipate these things. And this is one of those things that really helps your brain. You have to be quick on your feet. You have to solve problems because problems are going to arise. And this is where I do see why people say traveling is expensive, because for the mistakes or for the things that pop up that you can't really plan for, you kind of might need money for. And I'm not going to sit here and say $800 is cheap, because that's not cheap. That is expensive, okay? And I think I said I make $180 an hour in the last video a day. That's not true. I make more than that a day. Anyway, so I'm frustrated. It's 6 a.m., 6:30-ish, and my flight is canceled. So I'm trying to look up, what can I do? Can I fly to the Serengeti? And I see there is a flight to the Serengeti at 10:30. But mind you, my bag, so Dan tells me that my bag has just arrived to Nairobi, but it's going to be on the flight that gets to Kilimanjaro from Nairobi, and it lands at 10 a.m. or around the same time as this 10:30 flight to the Serengeti is leaving. So I'm kind of nervous. I don't book anything because I was talking to my sister and my parents, and they were like, it just makes more sense to wait for your bag, because last thing you need is for you to be one place and then your bag is going another place. Might as well get all your stuff. And so I'm thinking, yes, absolutely. You're right. So I'm sitting there trying to talk with Shedrack, trying to coordinate with Dan. I'm looking up flights. I see that flight, and I'm just thinking, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I need my bag first to get onto this flight, and this is going to cut it way too short. So I'm sitting there and then waiting, and I was like, okay, let me wait for this update for 7:30. 7:30, the update comes, nothing happens. Apparently this flight it's canceled, okay? Which I don't know why there would have been an update from a canceled flight. Like, what? Are they moving it? I don't know what. So everybody who was on my flight starts getting into the line and starts to change their flights and stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, if I'm in Kilimanjaro, mind you, Kilimanjaro is east, and Mwanza, where I'm supposed to be, is west. The Serengeti is in the middle of where I'm supposed to be, but closer to the west side, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, what can I do? Because it's going to be either the flight or that 15 hours, and I need to wait on my bag. So it's kind of this hurry up and wait game. I'm hearing from Dan. I'm hearing from Shedrack. What should I do? I'm about to just say to Shedrack, hey, get your guy who's in Kilimanjaro to drive me the 9, 10, or 15 hours to the Serengeti. Really disappointed, because I'm looking forward to this hotel, because it's this hotel that looks like a hut that's super cool that I booked, and I want to enjoy all of that. And I'm keep looking at this flight that's at 10:30. There's literally just one spot left. So I'm thinking to myself, I need to figure out how I can get on this flight. And I'm kind of worried. But as I'm about to tell Shedrack to book me for that long freaking drive, because I'm not sure that my luggage will be there on time, this lady comes up to me and she says, hey, what's going on? What's your name? She works for the airport because she has her uniform on and everything. And she was working with one of the kiosks for the airport. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, telling her my story, telling her how I'm waiting for this luggage, blah, 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 trying to get to the Serengeti. She says, oh, well, I handle all flights to the Serengeti. And I'm like, wonderful. Because right before this, I had saw that there's that flight, but then the next flight to the Serengeti is days later. I don't have days. I'm trying to see this hotel, because this hotel is we're only there for a few days, and then we're go, go, go. So I don't want to miss this hotel, which I know sounds so first world. It is very much first world problem, but when you pay a lot of money to go somewhere, you kind of want to see it, right? And I don't want to have to be dealing with refunds and all that stuff. So she tells me to come to the counter, and she says, oh, there's actually another flight at 11:30. And I say, wonderful, book me on that. I would love to get onto that flight. And so she says, I'm going to get you the invoice through WhatsApp. And so we exchange information and everything. And I'm telling her, okay, this is great. And she sends me the invoice. But in the midst of her sending the invoice, I go and sit back down because I need to text Dan and I need to text Shedrack. So I'm texting Dan from Nairobi, hey, my bag, just send it to Kilimanjaro. Don't send it to Mwanza because I think that I'm going to have a flight. Telling Shedrack, hey, stand by. I think I might have a flight to the Serengeti. But telling Dan, just get it to Kilimanjaro. That's it. That you just need to get it to Kilimanjaro. So Nairobi Dan is working his magic and he is looking up the next flight that's going to be coming from Nairobi to Kilimanjaro at the airport where I am. And the lady sends me the invoice. She tells me it's going to be 450 USD. That's so expensive. And mind you, this is supposed to be a 1-hour flight from where I am in Kilimanjaro to SEU. SEU is like the Saranara airstrip, which is the closest airstrip to my hotel, my specific hotel. So I tell her, okay, thank you so much. But she says you can either wire the money or you can send me in cash. And I don't know why, but I think I didn't want to, because I forgot to either call my bank or something and tell them that I was gone or something. I don't remember why it was, but I don't remember. But for some reason, I chose to do cash, which I don't remember why I chose to do cash. And so she tells me that it has to be in cash, but in Tanzanian dollars. So Tanzania is a very poor country because it is 2,500 or 2,600 to $1. So she tells me that I need to do this. And so she has a security guard wait with all my bags and everything. And she tells me, well, we can go to the ATM. It's around the corner. We'll escort you, blah, blah, blah. So she escorts me. We have to exit the airport. And then we go around. As we exit the airport, we make a left and we go around to where the ATM is. And so I'm at the ATM, and so 2,600 to $1. And because this flight is 450 US dollars, this equates to about 1.2 million Tanzanian shillings. So I'm at the ATM, and at the ATM, you can only take out 400,000 Tanzanian shillings at a time. And the largest bill you can get out is a 10,000. So I'm over here. I have to make 3 separate transactions of 400,000 to get the same equivalent of $450 or 1.2 million Tanzanian. So I'm getting all this money out and I keep looking around. I'm like trying to make sure that nobody's around because that's a lot of money and it looks like a huge wad of cash. So it's wads of cash that I'm getting out and I'm stuffing them into my blazer. I'm just stuffing them into my blazer. And finally I get the 3 transactions. I kid you not, the stack was like this big. I truly felt very, very wealthy. And in that country, I technically am very, very wealthy, but yeah, it did give me a little bit of this is what it would be like if you are a millionaire in the United States. I mean, obviously I know the currency was different, but carrying that wad of cash did something in me. And I was like, I need this to somehow be the norm. But it was very strange because carrying 1.2 million, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money in USD. In Tanzanian shilling, it's not a lot of money, but well, it is a lot of money for this fight. But so I turn around and I see Witness there, and she's like, "Oh, okay, so you're good." And I'm like, "Good." I'm concealing it. Luckily, I have pockets in my blazer, so all the money is hidden, thank goodness. And as we're walking back, I'm like, do you have an envelope so I could put all this money into it? And so she hands me an envelope and I get the money in there, kind of conceal it and everything. We have to go back through security because, again, the airport, you will walk in and you have to do security first thing when you get in. So first thing I get in, I go to security. I go back to where my bags are with the security guard. And then she basically sends me like my ticket. I go up to the counter. So she checks my bag, but she still doesn't check the cash because she's like, we'll count it in a second. And I was like, okay, whatever. And this man comes up to me, stands up next to the counter with me, and he also works for the airport, and he says, how much did she charge you for this flight? And I said, yeah, 450. He's like, in what? And I was like, in USD. And he's like, that's expensive. And I was like, yeah, I know. This is the most expensive flight I've ever paid for in my life for the shortest distance, because I pay for 450 flight could get me from like Denver to even out the country to Costa Rica or something. So I told him, yeah, this is very expensive, but I was going to do what I was going to do because I need to get where I'm going to go. It's either that or $800, and I'll take a 450 flight for an hour over $800 for 15, 10 or 9, whatever hours in a car. So I check in my checked luggage, because my carry-on, obviously I can't take this on. It's going to be a smaller plane, so that has to be checked. And so I have my other black carry-on with me, and I sit down still in the same area where you're checking in for your flights, and I'm just texting people and everything. Then another man who works at the airport comes and sits next to me as I'm texting my family, telling them what's up, telling Shedrack and everybody, okay, Shedrack, you don't need to do the vehicle because I'm going to be on a flight. And another man comes and sits right next to me, and he says, so how much did she charge you? Because right now, Witness is behind the counter helping other people. So this man is sitting next to me, and he's like, how much did she charge you? And I tell him, 450 USD. And he's like, that is so expensive. And I tell him again, I'm like, yeah, I kind of laugh it off. I'm like, yeah, this is the most expensive flight that I've ever paid for in my life, especially for such a short distance. And so he's just like, oh, wow, that's very expensive. And then he kind of gets up and walks away. I don't think anything of it. Then I see like all the people who were supposed to be on my original flight, everything kind of dwindles down, and there's not many people in the airport check-in area anymore because everybody's now gotten their new flights or at their gate. And Witness is done helping those other customers, and I'm just on my phone, like not caring or anything. And Witness kind of comes up to me, and she's kind of harsh with me. She's like, I need you to calm down. We're going to get everything for you. And I'm like, I'm calm. Like, what? Why is she so weird right now? And so she's like, okay, come with me. She gives me my boarding pass, which, mind you, was on a piece of paper. It was on a piece of paper that looked like this, that she literally wrote down my seat or the flight information on. It was very strange. I was like, I've never seen a boarding pass that's been handwritten. Anyway, so she takes me to the gating area. And in the gating area, before you get to the gating area, you got to go through security again. I'm telling you, in Africa, the amount of security you have to go through is insane. So we get through security. I'm in the gate, and I'm just sitting down for a little bit. And then we count the money, and I give it to Witness. And then she goes off, and she's like, I'm going to go find your bag, because in that process, Dan texts me like, hey, your bag has arrived or whatever, something like that. Or it's on its way from Nairobi to Kilimanjaro. This is only an hour flight, so it's not that long. So Witness disappears, and I realize I haven't peed since I left this morning. It's now about 9:30-ish, 10 a.m. And so, it's about like 9 a.m. So I go downstairs because the bathroom is downstairs, and I do my business. And as I'm washing my hands, another lady who works for this airport comes up to me. She's in very professional gear. She has a bright colored neon vest on. And she's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hi, I'm good. How are you?" And she's like, "I'm great. So I heard that you're going on this flight to the Serengeti." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going." She's like, "How much did you pay for it?" And I said, $450 US. I'm like, this is very curious. These people are very curious. I don't know why everybody keeps asking me this. And she's like, "Oh, okay, well, I need you to come with me." And I'm like, "Okay." Can I finish washing my hands first, girl? So finish washing my hands. We go upstairs, and she's like, "Can you point out to me who sold you the ticket?" And so I'm looking around. I don't see Witness. And then suddenly Witness walks from outside to inside the gate area, because she was outside by where the planes are and everything. And she walks inside. And I point to her and I'm like, "That's who did it, who sold me the ticket." And the ladies comes up to Witness, and then the lady with the vest and Witness start talking back and forth. And the lady with the vest is like yelling. Mind you, they're yelling at each other in Swahili. And I'm just standing there like this. Okay, awkward. Something's going down. And the first thought in my mind is like, "God damn it, did she sell me a ticket on a flight that doesn't even exist, or on a flight that's canceled or something?" I'm thinking something has to be wrong with the flight. That's my number one thought, because Kenya Airways, terrible. And so my first thought is something's wrong with the flight. And so the lady at the vest and Witness, they see me just awkwardly standing there. People are looking. It's starting to create ruckus. And the lady with this vest is like, "Ma'am, please go sit down." So I choose to sit at the opposite corner of where they are. I want to sit by the big windows, see the planes coming in and out, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I can't deal with this. Witness has my money. I hope that this is a legitimate flight. I just need to get to the freaking Serengeti. And after that, so the lady disappears and Witness disappears. The lady comes back after a while, and I realize, okay, I still haven't even eaten. So I'm eating my food that the lovely lady from my Kilimanjaro hotel gave to me. I'm eating the fruits. She gave me bananas, mangoes, and pineapple. I was like, this is so sweet. And it was the perfect pick-me-up because I was getting starved. And so after I'm eating for a bit, the lady with the vest comes and sits down next to me, and she's like, "Ma'am, I need you to come with me." So I go with her, and I go she walks over to where Witness is, and the lady with the vest is like, "Ma'am, I need you to understand this. Like, she makes it seem like something is my fault. And I'm like, what's going on? And she says, "Ma'am, I need you to pay attention to me. I need you to listen. You paid $450 and you're not supposed to pay $450. And I was like, "Okay, well, what?" And she says, "You're supposed to pay $330, no more than that." And then she points at Witness. She's like, "Witness overcharged you and you need to get your money back." But it's so funny because the way that the tone is, it like feels like it's my fault. I'm like, I'm the customer. How am I supposed to know? And she's like, "Ma'am, she pulls up my boarding pass. She's like, "This is so illegitimate. And you should know that we never charge over $330. It's never going to be over $330. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, give me my money back and whatever. And so Witness is apologizing to me, and I'm just like, okay. And then I asked the lady, I'm like, "Well, is the flight okay?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, the flight's fine. Everything's fine with the flight." And I just like, okay. Even though I was scammed, I couldn't really process it in the moment because I'm just thinking about, I need to get to the Serengeti. I just need to get to my hotel. And so now that I realize, okay, the flight is going to be fine, everything's fine with the flight, I am like, oh God, this girl scammed me. And I'm kind of pissed off. And so Witness is owing me this money, and she's owing me the $120 US dollars, or back in Tanzanian, that she owes me. So I'm sitting there, and I sit there, and Witness disappears to go whether get the money or get my bag. I don't know. Witness comes back very shortly, and she's like, "I can't get the bag," because now she's in trouble. I think she might have gone fired that day. Like that might have been her last day because something's wrong. So now I understand why everybody kept asking me, how much did you pay for that flight? How much did you pay for that flight? So finally I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to just wait here. And so witness could not get my bag. So they send a security guard for me to follow. We leave the gated area. We leave the checked in area, go pretty much back to where the ATM was, but beyond that to baggage claim. We have to go through security again twice. And then they take me to the baggage area and I see my lovely blue bag because Dan had texted me, the plane has arrived. And I was like, thank you, Dan, which I still owe him money for, like to just as a thank you because my bag had a lot of valuable stuff in it. And so I see my bag and it's almost like the floodgates of heaven just open up and I see clouds and sunshine beams on my suitcase, my beautiful like mint blue suitcase. And so I grab my suitcase and I get back to the checked in area, go through security and all that stuff again to get back to the gated area. And I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be on the flight. And witness comes and gives me my money. So that is the story of how I got scammed in Tanzania at the airport. And now I need witness protection. I'm going to end this video. We're at 36 minutes and this is about to die. So come back for part 3 because we're not done with the story. We're not even at the Serengeti yet.